The Hopewell Earthworks, grand monuments of antiquity, stand as silent witnesses to a forgotten epoch. Their construction defies simple explanation, weaving together natural engineering and profound knowledge of the landscape. One element central to their design, yet often overlooked, is the strategic choice of their placement on the second flood terrace of these valleys, of these rivers. This seemingly subtle decision reveals layers of foresight, practicality, and perhaps even a deeper connection to the terrestrial forces beyond. The second flood terrace was a step above the immediate floodplain of the river. It served as both a sanctuary and a potential vantage point, and unlike the lower floodplain, the first terrace, vulnerable to the unpredictable wrath of seasonal river floods, this elevated platform offered safety and stability. Such positioning wasn't mere chance, but more or less a calculated choice, ensuring that the earthworks could endure through time, and their purpose untouched by nature's cycles of destruction. Imagine this for a moment. The ancient builders surveying the land, understanding the rhythms of the river, and choosing a site that's more or less immune to its volatile surges. Was this simply practicality, or was it guided by a deeper awareness of how to preserve sacred spaces across centuries? This elevated location was more than a defense against floods as well. It became a natural fortress, a protected space for gatherings, ceremonies, and possibly astronomical observations. Could these terraces have served more practical purposes than we once realized before? Positioned on this terrace, the Hopewell Earthworks enjoyed an extraordinary line of sight across the landscape. These elevated spaces offered sweeping views, ideal for tracking celestial phenomena, keeping an eye on the condition of the rivers, or potentially establishing territorial dominance for things like trade routes. Was this visibility an intentional feature, connecting these structures to their landscape abroad? The terrace's location bridged two critical resources: the river and the uplands. The river provided an abundant water supply and, of course, a means of easy transport, while the uplands were more rich with sustenance. The Hopewell culture's mastery of logistics, things like accessing resources, moving materials, and connecting communities, becomes evident in these subtle yet profound details. Yet, as remarkable as the elevation and accessibility are, the soil itself tells an equally fascinating story. Beneath the feet of the Hopewell culture who built these great ceremonial earthworks lies a thing known as fox soil. Fox soil is a loamy, fertile earth that was not merely a passive foundation, but an active participant in the construction of these earthworks. Fox soil was known for its excellent drainage properties, which was a key ally in the stability of the Hopewell mounds. Imagine the torrents of rain over centuries, threatening to erode these monuments, yet the soil's composition allowed water to pass through more efficiently, preventing the erosion or collapse that would have plagued less suitable locations. Was this geological feature a happy accident, or did the Hopewell possess an intimate understanding of the land's hidden qualities? I'm of the belief of the second one, especially when you consider how many of these earthworks are built within these areas. The loamy texture of fox soil was an ideal mix of sand, silt, and clay, which offered a unique malleability. It was neither too heavy like a dense clay nor too loose like a pure sand, and this balance made it remarkably easy to shape, which lended itself to the intricate geometric forms that define the Hopewell earthworks today. Think of the laborers, armed with rudimentary tools, crafting these shapes with precision and ease, guided by a vision that resonates across the millennia. Over time, the loamy soil naturally compacted, further solidifying the earthworks, made it stable enough that it ensured that these monuments would endure even as lesser creations around them succumbed to the ravages of time. Was this resilience understood by the builders a deliberate part of their plan or a serendipitous reward from the land itself? Possibly both. And beyond its role in construction, the fertility of Fox soil may have also influenced settlement patterns near the earthworks. With this soil's ability to sustain abundant crops, the surrounding area became an ideal setting for the Hopewell people. Was the choice of this location part of a larger vision blending ceremonial, agricultural, and social priorities into one cohesive design? I think so. The second flood terrace, while elevated and safer than the immediate floodplain, was not immune to flooding, however. Historical records and geological studies suggest that these flood terraces would have been subject to major flooding events every 50 to 120 years or so. And for the Hopewell people, this cyclical flooding would have been a real challenge to thrive for thousands of years, right? But it was also an opportunity. The burial mounds may have served as both spiritual and practical landmarks, guiding their return after the waters had receded. And this is a very important part to remember. Imagine a landscape transformed by a powerful flood. The familiar trails, the clearings, and the structures before washed away or obscured by debris. In such a scenario, the burial mounds, elevated, prominent, and enduring, would remain visible through these floods, and these monumental structures would rise above the chaos of the floodwaters at the time. Could this have been a vital aspect for the Hopewell people to reorientate themselves in the aftermath of a deluge? Were these mounds intentionally designed as beacons of sorts? Their placement on the second flood terrace would suggest a dual purpose. They were not only sacred spaces, but also very practical markers that transcended generations, ensuring the community could always find its way back to its ancestral heart. And this plays into the function of burial mounds as well. Beyond their function as landmarks, the burial mounds may have also served as catch systems, a place to safely store valuable items, tools, or resources. Consider the possibility that the Hopewell people, anticipating the periodic flooding of the terrace, buried items essential for their survival or ceremonial practices within or near these mounds. The soil of the second terrace, with its excellent drainage and stability, would have been ideal for preserving these caches. Tools of daily life, raw materials, or even agricultural seeds could have been interred alongside their dead, their ancestors, the ancestors of the land, which would ensure that when the floodwaters receded, the community could come back and recover these essential items to essentially restart their civilization in a way. Could this practice explain the intricate layering as well within the mounds, where artifacts are often found interdispersed within human remains? Were these burials not only acts of reverence, but also acts of practical foresight, preparing for the future by safeguarding the past? The burial mounds, however, were still more than practical, I believe. They were probably deeply spiritual spaces for these people that connected the Hopewell people to their ancestors, because these people were definitely highly religious, especially when it comes to the idea of a naturalistic religion, a shamanic religion, if you will. And by burying their dead with these monumental structures, the Hopewell may have been creating a sacred bond of sorts, a physical and metaphysical link that tethered them to the land and their ancestral lineage. Imagine returning to these mounds after a 50 or 100 cycle flood of the second flood terrace, not only to reclaim cached items, but to commune with the spirits of the ancestors buried there. The mounds became places of renewal, where the past and the future would have intertwined. Were these earthworks designed as repositories of both memory and material, reflecting a worldview in which survival and spirituality were inseparably linked? It's the grand question. It truly is. And to stand on these terraces today is to confront the echoes of a lost understanding. The interplay between elevation, visibility, access, and soil speaks of a culture deeply attuned to its environment, a culture capable of harmonizing human intention with the forces of nature. Were the Hopewell mere farmers and builders, or were they custodians of a profound knowledge now obscured by time? And as we unravel these mysteries of these ancient people, we must ask, did the builders of these earthworks understand something fundamental about the relationship between humanity and the earth, a knowledge that we in our modern age have forgotten? The second flood terrace, the loamy embrace of the Fox soil, the celestial alignments, these are not isolated facts but threads in a grand tapestry of grand wisdom. The Hopewell earthworks are more than monuments, they are questions whispered across the ages, urging us to look deeper into the past, and they challenge us to consider not only their purpose, but the wisdom of those who raised them. Could it be that these ancient architects knew far more about the interconnectedness of life, earth, and the cosmos than we dare to imagine? And I think so. Thank you very much for watching and listening and enjoying if you did. And if you did enjoy, please make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and comment what you thought below. And perhaps give me video ideas, because I'm always looking for new things to research and look into. So if you have an idea that you'd like to hear about here on the channel, make sure to leave it in the comments below. I'd also like to take the time to mention that I have a members channel here on YouTube in which you can support the channel in any way that you can. But remember, you can always support for free by subscribing. So until next time, it's been Doogie from Doogie's Earthworks. I love you.